49% of real estate agents we surveyed said it was a buyer's market. As for prices, 44% said they saw them declining. Now, again, all real estate is local and market fundamentals are therefore different based on location, of course. Still, the trend is definitely for lower prices.
98 major housing markets had price declines this year, according to Zillow. This is about 1/3 of the markets Zillow covers. And even though 202 were positive, there's something strange happening in the market right now. Now, take Nashville, for example. I'm seeing massive repricing. Like this house that sold for $810,000 in June of 24, it just sold for $636,000. That's a 20% drop. But according to Zillow, home prices are only down 0.5%. How can it only be down 0.5%? And how can we make sense of what they are reporting versus what is really happening? I'm going to show you several examples and explain what I believe is happening underneath the surface of the data, which, by the way, if you do find these data-driven videos helpful, please click the like button, or better yet, give me feedback on what you want to see these videos for. Now, my buyers are seeing massive discounts, and I'm talking massive. I just showed you this property that dropped 20% in 18 months, but it's not the only one. Here's a property in Charlotte Park, just closed yesterday. The exact same floor plan closed in February of 23 for $555,000. My buyer got it for $485,000 and a 3% mortgage assumption. This mortgage assumption only took 45 days. I have another buyer closing on Monday at about a 5% discount from where the comps were earlier this year and assuming a 3% mortgage. This one only taking 41 days. But the question still remains, why is Zillow only showing that home prices are only down about 0.5%? In 2022, I was begging people not to buy. There was literally only 2 weeks supply on the market. Inventory was going parabolic and prices were dropping. Today, you have 10 times the level of inventory you had then. You have thousands upon thousands of more options to choose from. This alone is enough to create a price discovery. It's enough to leave bad properties on the market and good properties to move. So even if the median price is staying flat, it's not telling the full story. Many prices have dropped massively, just like the properties I showed you, even as the median has stayed basically flat. But the real question is, will home prices fall next year? I mean, why would you buy if they're about to tank? There are many people that seem to think that these price drops are just the beginning and that the housing market is about to roll over, especially in Nashville. On a large scale, I'm more skeptical, but I do see warning signs in certain areas, like the FHA foreclosures that are brewing for a potential 2026 meltdown. I featured that in this video here. But these seem like more highly localized areas, like neighborhoods with FHA concentration, than a market-wide meltdown. However, we do see more active listings. This active listing growth should continue into next year. There's no real reason we shouldn't see more active listings next year, although the growth is slowing. That, combined with rent rates that do appear to be dropping, especially in apartments, makes you wonder, could Nashville's housing market be softer next year? That's certainly two headwinds. But I think the biggest, most unclear piece that nobody really talks about or measures that would be the biggest risk or biggest boost to the housing market next year is migration and household formation. Neither of these are very well understood or have any real-time data, and yet they would have the largest impact on what happens in Nashville's housing market in the coming years than any other metric. Now, I track migration the best I can. I did a video with Eric Finnegan asking him about it. The truth is that migration continues into Nashville. And in terms of household formation, this is something that can change on a dime, both compressing or expanding, where young adults decide they want to go out and rent an apartment or buy a house. These two factors would dramatically change the landscape of housing, and yet They're the least understood and least predictable. Redfin has singled out Nashville as a city that they think will drop. Realtor.com has forecasted Nashville at a 0.5% increase, and Zillow is actually forecasting a 2% increase. But here's the thing. If you are making your decisions based on a forecast, please don't. It's actually a horrible idea. In fact, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett warn against making decisions based on predictions. In fact, these forecasts don't even pick up the 3 transactions that I'm helping with, the ones that have major repricing and even include a 3% mortgage. You want to know something even crazier? Appraisers don't even factor in what kind of debt you have. If you have a 3% mortgage or a 6% mortgage, it doesn't appraise any differently, which I think is insane. My buyer's payment are going to be 30% lower than someone with the same mortgage balance, and yet it will appraise the same. So here's the thing. If you're planning to buy or sell, you do need to see this. Here in Nashville, active listings are up about 17%, higher than they were last year. At peak this year, it was 33%. It's been slowly converging back to previous year, but still 17%. That's a lot. And there's a big question on how much they'll grow this next year. I personally know 2 sellers that were both willing to take a lower number, but are now waiting for the market to catch up to their price. They are literally waiting years to move, not because they're greedy sellers, but because they're navigating the same market you are navigating. Selling your house doesn't make the next purchase cheaper. 80% of homeowners have either a low rate, sub 5% mortgage or no mortgage at all. This market is still frozen. And when we look at affordability, this is the most unaffordable Nashville has ever been. And it's been this way for 3 years, slowly thawing. But back in the 80s, affordability trended higher for almost 15 years, while prices never really dropped. And even in 2008, when prices did drop, it took about 7 years. Either way, this is an excruciating long time for affordability to return, and opinions on how it will this time are all over the map. So if you are planning to buy or sell, just know we're heading into 2026 with more options, lower mortgage rates, and a White House determined to do something about affordability, whatever that means. If you are worried about prices falling, just don't buy. Rent. There's nothing wrong with renting, and nobody knows what's going to happen next. And if you do want to buy, this is your opportunity to be patient, stay within your budget, and just know that there are way more options in every price band now, and there are more coming on than there have been in years. So, with that, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Thanks a lot.